Hello, welcome pen friends. I'm here today to give kind of a progress report on how my 8 pens plus 2, the 2 are on the top there, the Galen leather purple from their special edition, and my Noodler's Ahab with a wonderful nib that a pen friend sent got added to my 8. So I have 10 pens to talk about today, and I'm just so grateful that pain levels are such that I'm able to do this, because this is part of my happiness, is to be able to talk to you guys and share my fountain pen hobby with you. But before we get started, and this is the reason for the shaky beginning, I wanted to show you what my husband helped me do with my pen desk. So hopefully I won't show too many messes, because there are a lot of messes in my office. But we switched out my shelf, my ink shelf, for the one from Hobby Lobby, and I'm so happy with this. I like the concept still of keeping my stampers that I use all the time up here. I've got several that I just love. The ink bottle there, and right there, the old-fashioned ink bottle, and the pen mail one. And you know, I just kind of rotate those. But then I was really frustrated with the excess and the mess of all my inks. So I haven't even filled in all of this yet. Of course, part of that has been pain levels and stuff like that. But I plan to just put my, most used inks here. And so I of course, I knew of several. KWZ, Monarch, whoops, I guess you can't see what I'm looking at. Sailor Texas quickly became a favorite. Bunga Box Lamont, and Graphon Faber-Castell Stone Gray is in there. And then like TWSBI, sorry for the mess there, TWSBI Royal Purple and Purple Rain. Those were the ones, that's a Monteverde ink. They came to my mind right away, but I decided not to get carried away right away, just to go ahead and try to have a more serene, if possible. Of course, I'm not going to be fully serene till I get rid of the paneling or paint over it, but one step at a time. So my ink journal's here, and we'll look in that. And then, of course, right here, I've got my files, my personal files of ink tiles. It's kind of like what you can get if you go over to inkswatch.com. So I keep them right at my fingertips, and I use them all the time. And right now I don't have my ink samples in this one, but I just love it. And my Serendipity is at the ready. And then I kept the shelf with the crystals up above, a couple of crystals that I can rotate, and my pencils, and let's see, I've got like a little kit here that I love. That makes me happy because it's at my fingertips. Some more colored pencils there. My archived book that I go into, commonplace book. Some coins that I like to get out. And my favorite writing book, which is Writing Down the Bones by Natalie Goldberg. I've got that in a big one too. But what's this? I mean, we're talking, this is June 2021. And I got a Christmas tree. I've got an advent calendar in my pen desk area. We'll talk about that more later, because that actually makes sense when I talk about what I'm going to do with it. So let's go ahead though and do the update on my pens, and never mind my awkwardness, because I haven't made a video in a while and this is likely to be awkward. Okay, so I have my little currently inked book with the sticker from Alicia at Adventure Denali, and I'm trying to get my hands on the one she did with the wolf and some others, but they are hotcakes, fly off the shelves really quick. And like I said, I added to my original 8 pens the Galen leather Kaweco Sport in violet. I added that when it came in. That has a stub nib on it. And the actually the Noodler's Ahab, my pen friend Marilyn sent me a Fountain Pen Revolution Ultraflex to try out, and ooh-wee, I've been having fun with that whenever I could, like whenever I wasn't in agony. So let's go ahead, and I think the first thing I want to do is show you where we were at before, and we'll just open that up. This is where I first inked them up, and I showed you, and this is the Bond Travel Gear Tomoe River 68 GSM book, but I'm not going to do the report card yet. This is a check-in. It's very delayed. It's almost the end of the month, but this is what happens when we have chronic pain issues. But so these are the 8, and then we'll do the +2 today. So what I wanted to do, I've made a space in my currently inked. Oh, this was the little case that I also ordered. I'm hoping you can see. Yeah, that's pretty good. It's purple, but it's a dusty purple single case that I ordered when this was my first order ever from Galen Leather. I have one of their pen cases that I ordered from Goulet pens, which I love, but it was just a little small for my Opus 88. So that I need to use like a Ashton or something bigger. Anyway, I'm digressing. I loved it, and then I got in that order. I was so impressed by how they packaged things, and they sent a little pouch, which you guys that know me know I love pouches, and if you've ordered from them, you already know you get these neat things, a little hand cleaner, a little special, let's see, what do they call it? I knew about it right away because some friends here in Corpus Christi that do jewelry use these little, why do I want to call it an evil eye? Oh, it is. Okay, the evil eye charm. Famous in Turkish culture, a nazar is an eye-shaped amulet believed to protect against the evil eye. Well, that's big in the South Texas Hispanic culture that my husband and I are, living in too. So anyway, I love that. I was like, oh, that is so cool. And then Turkish coffee, which I will not be drinking because regular coffee is strong enough for me. And I've cut way back because I think that might have something to do with some of my problems, but who knows? Oh dear, I bet you this is going to be a long video, but
1 p.m.
1 p.m. Well, we got all day. So, okay, so here's my space that I have. Now, some of these pens I haven't used in a few days, so this is going to be a real test. But I have to say, even with the chronic pain, I have to get up, I have to move around, and I have to do something fun each day. And the only thing I've been able to do is write a few letters, and I'm drastically behind, so that's not saying much. But I have been using these pens, just not all of them every day. So let's just get right in there. This is the Moonman Mini Q1 Moonman. Oh my goodness. Let me open my notebook because that's how rusty my brain feels. All day I've been, I don't know, if you're the right age, you'll know what I'm talking about. But when my son was growing up, there was a cartoon called Pinky and the Brain. And I've been studying the brain and the brain's role in pain signals and neurotransmitters and neural pathways. So all day, the only thing I could think of is that song, The Pinky and the Brain, The Pinky and the Brain. And that cartoon used to annoy me, but right now I'd like to sit down and watch. He used to love it, my son, and I, Okay, I told you this was going to be weird, and there's no pain medication going on today. So, okay, Moonman Q1 Mini Eyedropper Fountain Pen with a fine nib and TWSBI Royal Purple. So we'll just kind of, this is my notebook where I really don't, it's kind of messy. It's just currently inked, and maybe I might want to exercise my pens, so I come in and go nuts with it. That's all this is. And it was in an ink flight. It's an idea book. By Kaweco, I think. So it's something that just came as part of my ink flight a long time ago. So, Moonman. I have to say, I love this pen, but I like the original one better. The original Moonman Mini Wankai that didn't have quite as big of a grip section is more comfortable for me to write with. And I'm still a little buggered by the fact that I got purple all over those threads because I dunked the nib back in, and I know what to do not to do that, but I already did it, and I'm kind of bummed about that. So well, we're not here to do a full test run. This is just to me to say. So on notes, I'm just going to put yes, I like this. I like this. I won't buy any more of them, but I'm going to keep this in my collection because I think it's just a cool, cute pen, like a cute, weird thing. And, it's leaning toward, well, I don't normally grade them, but we'll just call this the progress. Your kids get a progress report. So I would have to give it an A at this point. I like it. It writes really smooth, no work done on the nib. It starts every time. It's been a long time since I picked this one up. Probably at least 3-4 days. To me, that's a long time. Okay, so next was the Parker Jotter with a medium nib. Made in France. It's not an original or anything. So, okay. Now this one I was really worried about because it sat idle. So let's see how it does. Let me get you even closer if I can without producing a bad visual. Parker Jotter, medium nib. And this is, oh, I didn't even put the ink up there. Herbin Orange Indien. Okay, I like this, but it doesn't have a broad nib on it, so therefore it's probably going to be better off with me if it has a darker ink for a journaling situation rather than, you know, I'm not picking it up to write letters, but I like it. I like the pen a lot, and it's reliable and smooth and nice. But let's go back because that'll drive me nuts. TWSBI Royal Purple. I forgot to put it. Wow, this just didn't dry up at all. Of course, that's a really nice ink, and it's a really smooth Moonman original nib on there, so, okay. I hope you enjoy all the skipping around. Okay, and next is Midori Fountain Pen. Little Midori with a medium nib. Now this is just misplaced. If I had this over in my pen pouch, which is chock-a-block full, then I would use it in my bullet journal for sure as a black. I'm not using it for letter writing, though. I don't like it for letter writing because it just isn't a broad or a stub. Okay, so it's medium nib, Colorverse, number 17, Vortex Motion. Oh, I didn't even attempt to say what I thought of the other one. That's crazy. See, I knew this would happen. After I don't do a video for a few days, I'm very rusty. So I like this. It gets a solid B+ at least at this point, and who knows, it may change before, let's see, let's give you a little more view. I'm just going to put bullet journal. That's where it would be happy in my, yeah. Okay, let's go back and at least make some kind of a note about this poor pen. It's a good pen. I like it. Yeah, it gets at least a B+. I mean, it's reliable and smooth and everything else, but I'm thinking not for letters. For me, anyway. Let's see. How are we doing? Am I using any of it? Well, I'm about halfway. Whoops. There you go. So you could see halfway down the fill. Okay. Okay, so next, I'm afraid this one may give us trouble because I've left it unattended too long, but it's been pretty good. The ink is pretty thick, though, so I have had a few cases where I had to start it. Actually, I think yesterday I may have tried to write a letter with it. Pretty good, pretty good. Keeping in mind, Chris hasn't been Chris every single day, so... Okay, Jinhao X750 1.5 Goulet nib. Okay, I know this nib really well, and I don't really particularly love how this Colorverse Stars and Stripes writes in it. It's a kind of ink that sticks to the side of the ink vial. It's very, very thick, which would be fine, except that I'm just not getting the flow I want with it. Even on a good day when I am using it enough. It's just too thick, I guess, for me for this, but I know that it's not the nib because I've used it with lots of other blue inks. So I'm going to give it a C. It's passable, but I've had to encourage it a lot, even during active writing sessions. See how dark that is? Whoops. It's gone down some. I've used it some for letters, but, and just not, okay, ink, nib, combo, not so much. I guess that's what this is all about. This is not the final say, but it's where I'm at today. So, okay. Okay, so the next was the TWSBI Go in clear with Scribo Verde Prado. Okay. Love this. However, it's not quite as bright as Colorverse Supernatural, so this is only a sample I'm using up, so clear. Scribo Verde Prado. Yeah, perfectly fine. In fact, if I didn't already have that slightly more saturated, a little bit better in the shading department, not much, but a little better, is Colorverse Supernatural. So that's the only reason why I was going to scribble again. I'm still going to give it an A though. That's only because I know, whoops, I'd like you to be able to see where I'm at. I'm just going to put great because it is great and it's just not A+, that's all. Okay, next up is the Nemosine Singularity. On this, I have the Nemosine 0.8 nib, which was sent to me by a pen friend, a different pen friend than who sent me the actual pen. So, oh my goodness, I'm just so blessed. It's nuts. I haven't written with this in a bit. Oh, that's too bad. Oh, okay, I've almost completed that fill. So let's see. So that little encouragement, it may, because this has been excellent. Yeah, this is not fair to the pen. This is me. Oh, I really wanted to show you because it's been excellent. It has warranted an A+, and this has been unattended maybe for a couple of days. Oh, that's too bad. It's like when your kid misses a basketball or something and they always get it. Singularity. Okay, it's coming around, but of course I saturated the nib too much with a 0.8 nib, and it's just fantastic. Yeah, poor pen has been sat empty. And the ink is Sailor, 50 States, Texas. I am so glad that I did get that ink. I got it when Pen Chalet had it for $20, and it's such a small bottle. It's nuts, but I had just been so tempted by all of the beauty that I'd seen from like Manda B and other people that had this ink. I just had to have it, so I have it. Okay, next up, I just put this clip on. I've had this pen since the beginning of being in the hobby. It was my only sport until I got this one. So it's now I have one with the silver and one with the gold trim. That's kind of fun. And this has a medium nib that I worked on because it had baby's bottom. Those of you that have been here have heard that over and over, the story of that. Kaweco Ice Sport Blue Medium. That one I could leave probably for a month and pick it up and it writes the same. So that says an awful lot about the pen, I think. You should never do that, but I did. Sometimes. Noodlers, Navajo, Turquoise. One of my favorite turquoises. If I hadn't met KWZ Hawaii Blue after that, I'd probably still be. Okay, I'm just going to flat out tell you it's got at least an A, and it's just excellent. The bright ink makes it okay for me to write letters with too. I don't mind that, even though it's a medium nib, not a stub. And I forgot to, well, poor Nemosine. I can't really grade it because I left it alone. I'm going to have to actually clean this pen and probably go ahead and put another half fill in it because that's just not fair. But I'm going to tell you right now, it's been an A+, and so I have that memory, and I know, so I'm giving it the A+. I have written just about every letter I have. See, now that it's flowing well, it's just great. And it wouldn't surprise me to see another plus on there by the time we do the July pens and the final report card. Okay, so last but not least, on the original 8 is the Opus 88. I think this is called lipstick purple, but I'm not sure. I thought it was just purple, but no, I think I'm wrong about that. Let's open the valve because I want to give it every, advantage, okay? And then, yeah, this has been just excellent, and I love the broad nib. Opus 80. I love this ink too. Oh, it's one of my very favorites. It's the one I just showed you over. It's one that got pulled right away for the new and simplified ink shelf here. And this is an Omar, and it's a broad Opus nib, and it's got Monteverde, purple, rain. Rain. Now, let me just read to you something, and then I'm going to do it again later. But the guy that I'm studying, Howard Schubiner, who writes about back pain, he says, well, he writes about pain. The reign of pain lies mainly in the brain. You can see why I'm singing Pinky in the Brain, right? It's not the medication, because I'm not on any medication right now. I'm like, let's see, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 5 hours from my 1 cup of coffee even. So, honest, it's not that. Okay, this automatically, it's an A++. It's just, like, favorite. It's not just the pen, the nib, the ink, it's everything. It's knowing I have that big tank of ink. I've written a lot with this, but I can't see unless I hold it up to the light how far down it's gone. So, okay, that's just no question. Okay, so let's add on the 2 that I added on. Okay, first is the Kaweco Sport Violet Galen Leather Special Edition, and I hardly ever do special editions, and I hardly ever do Kaweco, so you know, it's interesting. I have a couple Kaweco Perkios. One came in an ink flight, one was sent to me, and one I purchased. But you know, I'm just not, I hadn't been a Kaweco girl because of that first experience. But people have told me that things have changed, and they're right about that, I think. I've heard good things, and okay, this hadn't been written within a couple of days either, but Kaweco Sport, the Galen Leather Violet, and it has the little 1.1 stub. I think it's a 1.1. Yeah, that's what it says. To make sure. Oh no, we're coming unscrewed here. Okay. Interesting, because I from Goulet I purchased a double broad because my pen friend Brian had told me at the pen thing that he knows my writing because we're pen pals, and he said a double broad in Kaweco I would be happy with, and I trusted him. I do, and I'm gonna be able to then go back and forth between this nib, and I've got the gold nib unit. It's not gold, but it's a gold colored one from Goulet now. Okay, and this is the Jacques Herbin. Oh, I can't remember what this is. Violet Borealis. Okay. See how the brain works? Then I don't remember how to spell it. Borealis. Oh my goodness. Okay. That's not spelled right, but I think you know. It was from that 10 series from Goulet that I got the sample, and so I'm finishing the sample in this beautiful pen. I actually think really that the Monteverde Purple Rain would have been a perfect match for this. And I feel like this pen looks just like the TWSBI Translucent Purple. The color is just almost the same. I've heard other people say that, but I would definitely say that myself too. Okay, so this is an A. I think this is an A+. I'm not ready for 2 pluses, but I love the color of it. I'm on a stub kick right now, and I enjoy it. And it's smooth. It's a little bit more like a Lamy stub than a rounded Goulet stub, though. In my opinion, I don't know. I'm trying to. Not that it isn't smooth. It's just a little bit more italic than stubby to me. But I'm a beginner with Kawecos, so I don't know. Okay, and then last but definitely not least is this excitement. I can't get along good with the Noodler's Ahab flex nibs that come in them. I just can't. So I had purchased for $3 each, I think, non-flex nibs for these because I have 3 Noodler's Ahabs, and I love the pen. I love the shape of it and the option to eyedropper and the ebonite feed. I love them, but I didn't get along. Anyway, Marilyn Darling sent me Fountain Pen Revolution Ultra Flex Extra Fine Nib to try out, and I am just loving it. It's freaking amazing. Now, that doesn't mean I'm good at it, but I should slow down and not railroad it because there's no need to do that. Let me get this a little closer. So this is my, whoops, what did I do? Ah, probably used all the ink in the feed. Okay, little pen, come on. There you go, whoops. Noodler's Ahab. Well, it's the Cherokee Pearl. That's a lot of ink. I was actually doing a lot better the other day when I did the postcard. Let me go grab the postcard. Okay, so this is the little postcard I made. I can't turn it over because it's got Marilyn's address, but I was really doing really good with it with this, and I just think right now I globbed the ink on and then I oversaturated the feed, but I'm going to keep practicing with this. The ink, of course, is Sailor 50 States, Texas. Whoops, gosh, I'm not, let me, I wanted you to be able to see it there. Okay, so I really like it and I need practice, but it wasn't at all like the experience of the Noodler's nib, the flex nib that comes on the Ahab. Is all I'm trying to say. And I think I just think this is more beginner friendly for this type of thing. I don't know, but that's my first impression. Sailor 50 States. And of course these pens do lay down the ink. Even with a non-flex nib, it's a gusher. Texas. And what I found is, like, if you get the right paper for it, like CVS Caliber works so good with this kind of a nib that puts down so much ink. And so does like the G Lalo paper that's textured, where you can't even get other pens to glide across it. This makes up for that texture and absorption, if that makes sense. It does to me. I really enjoyed it. So, okay, let me note down here, this is a Fountain Pen Revolution. Ultra Flex EF. You can tell because it has that curve in the side of it, oops, that it's not just the regular flex from Fountain Pen Revolution. Okay, I'm already definitely, it's a solid A. It's like teetering on getting A plus. I think it will, but I need to learn to control it, make sure I've got it seated right. I think I do. It seems to be that there's that little groove there that the nib goes into, and I got it in right and everything. So I love it. So it has to do with the pressure amount and, you know, practicing with flex. And that's really kind of good for what I need to do, which leads me right into my final thing, because I got to say these things if I'm going to say them at all. I thank you guys so much for all of the messages that you made for me when I explained my absence from the channel, because this is hard. It's hard for me when I can't make videos and when my activities are severely restricted. And but as you know, if you watched the other video back in October, I found Dr. Sarno's work on healing back pain, and his theories that had to do with chronic back pain is sometimes psychosomatic, or like a learned brain type thing, where long after the injury is healed, the person still experiences this intense real pain. It's not made up, and it's not, you know, it's real, all right. And I found myself in this, and I'll link that other video. But because of my sincere and intense desire to learn more, I ran across Dr. Howard Schubiner. I found him through Dan I can't say his last name. It's Pain Free You on YouTube, and I'll link him as well in case you want to see him. He's got some great videos on handling TMS, which is tension myoneural syndrome, which has to do with those of us who find out that our structural problem is not really what's causing the pain, but anyway, he just explains how the brain works so well. And there's that quote again, the reign of pain lies mainly in the brain. I just love it. I listened to his Google talk. It was 53 minutes, I think, and it was well worth every single minute. He talked about pain having 3 components: how we feel the pain, the sensory, what we think about the pain, what we think the cause is, and whether we believe it's temporary or permanent. That's the cognitive part, and the affective part, where our feelings and emotions about the pain. And then he says there are 3 origins. You could have an injury, you could have a stressful event or a stressful time, including unresolved stress and emotional conflicts, or this could come out of the blue, because these are learned neural pathways that the brain has now learned. Then what he says is the nerves in our body send alert signals from the body to the brain. Then the brain interprets the signals, and the nerves send back the pain, because it's a way to help us, to make us stop if we're injured. But we're not always injured, and sometimes we're okay, but it happens anyway. And so I'm trying to learn this, and my doctor's been pretty good about it too, kind of checking, doing the scans and making sure that it's nothing more than the arthritis that I've always had since I was in my 20s. He says, important to understand the autonomic nervous system, the part of the nervous system responsible for control of the bodily functions not consciously directed. Examples are breathing, heartbeat, digestive processes. This is the same system that gives us pain. So this is an automatic process. Anyway, I'm going to get his book, When There is No Structural Injury, or an injury is long healed and pain remains. You're hurting because of overly sensitized nerve connections between the brain and the body. The connections have created a vicious cycle of pain that can last for months, years, or even decades unless you do what it takes to stop it. This cycle of pain has been learned by your nervous system, and the longer these signals keep firing, the more sensitized and overactive the nerves become. Okay, I'd written a note to my mom because I'd sent it to her, because I felt like for being aware of these new and not so new brain studies is important for anybody dealing with chronic pain or fibromyalgia and things like that, it cannot hurt even, to study and to begin to bring in the work, which I need to learn about, and I want to read his book. Anyway, it's been extremely hard, because yesterday I tried to get in the car, and I did, and we went to take the flowers for my father and father-in-law, and it was just excruciating pain, 10 minutes over and 10 minutes back. So I don't even know how I'm going to get out to my doctor, but I need a physical to make sure that there's nothing else going on. And he may have to just give me some muscle relaxer just for that. I hate to take anything, but okay, now I've gone off the rails. That's too much, way too much. But in case it helps someone else, I have to talk about it because it's already helped me. It's helped me to relax and remember and know, because I know I wasn't injured. I did take a road trip. It was an hour over and an hour back. And then after that, the pain started to tweak up a little. And then it just got totally out of control like 4 days later. After just it was a very comfortable car, but the seats were... It was the back seat of a Tahoe, a brand new rental car, and it was extremely uncomfortable for me, but, I got out and stretched and moved around after the hour, and then before we went back, I did the same thing. So it's hard for me to correlate that trip with this level intensity of pain. This is more like when I fell off the horse or when I got injured in the Air Force. And it's a lot like when the dog mowed me over. It's that bad, and it doesn't match up with reality at all. It just doesn't. But it goes away. It's moved around. It's gone from the middle of my back down to my belt area on the sides and my hip. I mean, it's just, it's classic. It's classic TMS if you have ever studied it. So I hope this had some value. Probably I've lost everybody by now, but at least I'm glad to be back today anyway, and probably we'll get this edited after I take another break to make sure I don't, end up in bed again for a week. Oh my God, that's so embarrassing. I'll see you guys later, and thank you so much for being patient with me. Bye for now.